Hi guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. God, we're in a bit of an accident black spot here, aren't we? You arrive at an incident. There's no danger from fire or further collisions and the emergency services have been called. Nice, that's doctor's done. Bosh, it's the ABC now. What's your first priority when attending to an unconscious motorcyclist? Check whether they're breathing. Love that. Airways. Check whether they're bleeding. Well, they might be, but you can fix that. You've got to breathe first. Check whether they have broken bones. Well, again, they might. Check whether they have any bruising. Yeah. Airways. At the scene of an incident, always be aware of dangers from further collisions. The first priority when dealing with an unconscious person is to ensure they can breathe. This may involve clearing the airway if you can see any obstructions or if they have difficulty breathing. At an incident, someone is unconscious and you want to help. What would be the first thing to check? Airways. Whether their vehicle is insured. Right. Whether they have any allergies. No. Whether they're comfortable. That's nice, isn't it? Whether their airway is open. Yes, yes. We don't want them dying on you. There you go, Dr. ABC. What could you do to help injured people at an incident? Keep them warm and comfortable. Well, that's nice. I like that. That is true. That's right at the end, isn't it? Give them something to eat. No. Keep them on the move by walking them around. No. They might get extra damage from that. Give them a warm drink. So yeah, so that they can all choke on it to death. There are a number of things you can do to help, even without expert training. Be aware of further danger from other traffic and fire. Make sure the area is safe. People may be in shock. Don't give them anything to eat or drink. Keep them warm and comfortable and reassure them. Don't move injured people unless there is a risk of further danger. There's been a collision in your accident black spot. How can you help a driver who's suffering from shock? Give them a drink. No. Reassure them confidently. Yes, because they might well be confused. Ask them who caused the incident. Don't add to the problem. Offer them a fag. Well, lovely. Give them a cigarette. Personally, I don't smoke, so I'll have to hunt for one, wouldn't I? A casualty suffering from shock may have injuries that aren't immediately obvious. Call the emergency services, then stay with the person offering reassurance until the pros turn up. At an incident, how could you help a small child who isn't breathing? Right, find their parents and explain what's happening. They'll be dead by the time you've done that. Open their airwaves and begin CPR. Ta-da! Put them in the recovery position and slap their back, because they're a jolly good fellow. Talk to them confidently until an ambulance arrives. Well, yeah, but that's after you've got them breathing. If a young child has stopped breathing, first check their airways open, then begin CPR. With a young child, you may only need to use one hand and you shouldn't press down as far as you would with an adult. It's a third of the chest. That's what we saw in the CPR video. Continue the procedure until the child is breathing again or until medical professional takes over. Damn right. At an incident, a casualty isn't breathing. There's a lot of people not breathing around here. Have you found a coach load of people? Right. What should you do while helping them to start breathing again? Put their arms across their chest. Shake them firmly just to cause more injury. Roll them onto their side. Open their airway. I'm going to go for airway. If they ain't breathing, they're dying. Don't matter what position you put them in or if you put a cross shape on their chest. It's important to ensure that the airway is open before you start CPR. To open the casualty airways, place your fingers under their chin and lift it forward. Next! At an incident, someone is suffering from severe burns. How could you help them? Right, apply lotions to the injury. I don't normally have a bag of lotions with me. Burst any blisters? No, if you burst a blister then you could get further infection in there. Remove anything sticking to the burns? No, because that's the equivalent of bursting any blisters because you'll rip the top off and then infection will get in. Douse the burns with clean, cool water. Yes! That's the one you want to do. If somebody's got severe burns, you need to cool that burn. And you don't want to use, you want non-toxic, anything that's just plain water will be absolutely fabulous. It's got to be cool, and you want to do it for a minimum of 20 minutes, I believe. Your priority is to cool the burns with clean, cool water. Its coolness will help take the heat out of the burns and relieve the pain. Keep the wound doused for in at least 20 minutes. There you go. If blisters appear, don't attempt to burst them, as this could lead to infection. It's like I know what I'm talking about, you know. Question 40. You arrive at an incident. A pedestrian is bleeding heavily from a leg wound. The leg isn't broken and there's nothing in the wound. How could you help? Right, dab the wound to stop the bleeding. No, you really need to stop the bleeding, not dab it. Keep the casualty's leg flat on the ground. Well, you normally elevate it, don't you, above the heart. That makes it more difficult for the blood to get pumped to the wound, and therefore they're going to lose less blood. So you actually want to elevate it normally. Give them a warm drink? No. This lot obviously think I drive around in a coffee shop. Right, apply firm pressure over the wound. Perfect. If we stop the blood getting to the hole, it can't come out the hole. Marvellous. You should protect yourself from exposure to blood and then apply firm pressure over the wound to stem the flow of blood. As soon as practical, fasten a pad to the wound with a bandage or length of cloth. Use the cleanest material available. At an incident, a casualty is unconscious but breathing. Good. When should you move them? When an ambulance is on its way? No. When bystanders tell you to move them? No. When there is a risk of further danger? Yes. We've learnt that by now. 41 questions in. When bystanders offer to help you? No. We only move them if there's danger. Well, we know this. Right. Which sign shows that a tanker is carrying dangerous goods? This one. The one that says flammable liquid. Right, that just tells you it's long. That's an edge of a vehicle, and that's a road sign that tells you that there's a hazard ahead. So that is normally on the back of tankers, and it will normally say something caustic. This is flammable liquid, but it might say caustic, hazardous to wildlife, stuff like that. There you go. Oops. So tankers will display a hazard warning plate on the side and rear of the vehicles. Details of hazard warning symbols are given in the highway code. Yep, fine. If a tanker is involved in a collision, you may need to report the tanker's hazard labelling to the emergency services. Yes. Which document may the police ask you to produce after you've been involved in a collision? Right, your vehicle registration document. Your driving licence. There you go. That's the number one thing. So you're involved in an accident. First thing they want to do, check you out. So they say, give us your driving licence. If they want to make further investigations, they will. Vehicle registration document. You might not even own the vehicle. You might be in a hire car, so you won't even have one of those. Theory test certificate. There are people on the road who never sat a theory test certificate or theory test. I never did until I became a driving instructor. And your vehicle service record. That's got nothing to do with it. You could service that yourself. You might not even have a service record. So, you must stop if you're involved in a collision that results in injury or damage. The police may ask to see your driving licence and insurance details at the time or later at the police station. Yes, you normally get 7 days to produce documents, I believe it is. A collision has just happened. An injured person is lying in a busy road. What's the first thing you should do? Treat the person with shock. Warn other traffic. Danger, doctor. Place them in the recovery position. Make sure the injured person is kept warm. Well, yeah, all of that's great. But the first thing you should do, it's a busy road, is warn other traffic. At an incident, how could you help a casualty who has stopped breathing? Don't know. Take your hand off their mouth. Keep their head tilted forwards as far as possible. Follow the Dr. ABC code. Boom! We're having some of that. Raise their legs to help with circulation. No, give them something to drink. In my coffee shop. You're at the scene of an incident. How could you help someone who's suffering from a shock? Remember, this is blood loss, fast heart rate. Going over that video about shock. So, someone's suffering from shock, reassure them confident. Absolutely. Stuff like, don't worry, your leg will grow back. Things like that. Offer them a cigarette. I'd have to start smoking. Give them a warm drink from my mobile coffee shop. Offer them some food from my mobile coffee shop. I'm going to go with reassure them confidently. There's been a collision. What a shocker. A motorcyclist is lying injured and unconscious. Why should you only remove their helmet if it is essential? They might not want you to remove it. Fine. Removing it could make any injuries worse. Boom! That's the issue. If they've got spinal injuries and you're going, oh, trying to pull their head off, you could paralyse them. Removing it could get them cold. Yeah, you could scratch the helmet as you remove it. Whatever. When someone is injured, any movement that isn't absolutely necessary should be avoided, since it could make the injuries worse. Unless it's essential to remove a motorcyclist's helmet, it's generally safer to leave it in place. I can't think of a situation where it would be essential to move or remove a cyclist's helmet. Ooh, maybe if it's covered in petrol. If he is a fire hazard, might not be a good idea. But you know, move him away from a fire source. Maybe something in his eyes, maybe? I don't know. You're on a motorway. When can you use hazard warning lights? If traffic in front of you stops suddenly. When a vehicle is following too closely. No. When you slow down quickly because of a danger ahead. Boom. That's the answer. When you're being towed by another vehicle. When you're riding on the hard shoulder. Well, no. It's when you slow down quickly. Briefly using your hazard warning lights to warn the traffic behind you that there's a hazard ahead. Turn them off again when following drivers have seen and responded to your signal. Yes, in fact, I had a Mini for a hire car once, had to stop suddenly, and every time you do an emergency stop in a Mini, it puts the hazard warning lights on. Does it automatically for you. 100%. Owned it. Thank you.